I am the emperor of mankind, and this is the son I did not deserve. Vulkan. There were others who were stronger in the rawest sense, others who burned brighter for a moment or ruled more ruthlessly. But none of them endured as he did, and none of them remained kind. He was not created to rule. He was created to protect, and in that, he succeeded more fully than even I can admit. When the Primarchs were torn from me, scattered across the stars by the forces of the warp, I knew each would be shaped by the world that found them. Some would learn war, some would learn silence, some would not learn at all. But Vulkan, he was born on Nocturne, a world of fire and predators, of tectonic fury and death without mercy. A lesser being would have become a weapon, a monster. But he didn't. He became a protector, a guardian of his people, a blacksmith who forged not just tools, but hope. He didn't conquer Nocturne, he calmed it. When I found him, I did not find a warrior with ambition. I found a man who had already built a life, one rooted in service, in stability, in restraint. He called me father, and he meant it. I did not embrace him. I did not praise him. I gave him the truth of his purpose, and he did not rebel. He accepted it, without ego, without expectation. He wore his purpose as he wore his armor, not to shine, but to shield. During the Great Crusade, he did not seek glory. He sought survival for others. He spared time for the defenseless, where his brothers would not. Where Angron left cities burning, Vulkan left them standing. Where Lorgar demanded belief, Vulkan offered presence. Where Fulgrim sought perfection, Vulkan practiced patience. He was slow to anger, slower still to judge. But when his wrath came, it was the wrath of a mountain finally stirred. He did not boast of his strength. He simply used it when all other tools had failed. There were moments during the crusade when I watched him from afar. Moments where he disobeyed, not with defiance, but with compassion. He would delay compliance to evacuate a city. He would risk his own life for mortals who would never know his name. And I allowed it. Not because it was wise, not because it was efficient, but because it reminded me of something I had buried, that power should serve life, not command it. He reminded me, and that is why I did not name him War Master. It was not a question of worth. In truth, no other son bore the moral strength Vulkan carried. But I could not give the mantle of strategy to a heart that would hesitate. He would have spared a brother. He would have sought reconciliation. He would have tried to save the traitors before striking them down. And in that mercy, the war might have been lost before it ever began. It was not weakness. It was strength of another kind, the kind the Imperium did not know how to wield. And so I passed him by and said nothing, but he remained loyal, always, even when Horus was chosen, even when his brothers began to fracture, even when whispers of doubt found their way into the ranks. Vulkan did not question. He built, he prepared. He trained his sons not in doctrine, but in character. He taught them to carry civilians, to shield the helpless, to never forget why they fought. He forged 9 relics, each a masterpiece, not weapons of vanity, not icons of power, but burdens, tests, and he left them behind, because he knew he wouldn't be there forever. Istvan came, and I sent him into fire once more. I did not warn him. I did not see the trap clearly enough. Perhaps I did not want to. And yet, he marched into betrayal. He fought as few ever have, not for revenge, not for pride, but to protect his sons. He held the line while the world fell, And even as the traitors closed around him, even as his brothers turned their blades against him, he did not curse them. He did not beg. He stood. And when they struck him down, he did not fall. He endured. And that is where the real story begins. But I will speak of that in time, because what happened next is not just a tale of pain. It is a tale of fire, and of the one son who refused to go out. He was not my most dangerous weapon. He was not my most cunning mind. He was something rarer. He was good, and in this galaxy, goodness is the first thing to die, except in Vulkan, it didn't. And that is why I remember him. Not as a tool, not as a symbol, but as a truth I could never command, only witness. He was not broken. He was not consumed. He was not changed by the wars he fought. He walked through them and remained Vulkan, unbroken, and still burning. I told you Vulkan endured Istvan, but what came after was not war. It was something worse. He was taken by Conrad Kurz, the Night Haunter, my fallen son, consumed by prophecy and madness. A creature who no longer believed in salvation, only the truth of fear. He did not want Vulkan dead, he wanted him broken, and so he killed him, again, and again, and again. In his twisted mind, this was a test, a demonstration, a punishment. Vulkan's body was torn apart in ways few minds could conceive. His soul flayed, his mind shattered, his purpose mocked. He was mutilated, tortured, but never once did he strike back in hatred, because Vulkan is a perpetual. He could not die, and so he endured. Kurz stabbed him through the heart. He returned. Kurz beheaded him. He returned, but more than that, he returned as himself. Not twisted, not enraged, not warped by the pain. Others would have broken, others would have begged, others would have become something darker. But Vulkan, he rose each time with the same eyes, clear, focused, merciful. And that is what drove Kurz to madness, because cruelty is meaningless when it does not change the thing it touches. He tried to make Vulkan into a weapon, a monster, a reflection, but all he found was flame, and flame does not kneel. Eventually, Vulkan escaped. He did not kill Kurz. He did not even curse him. He simply walked away. And that, perhaps, was the greatest wound of all, because Kurz wanted to be proven right. He wanted Vulkan to break, to justify his own descent. But Vulkan did not grant him that. Instead, he granted him silence. And then he vanished, not to hide, but to test, to leave behind a path. 9 artifacts scattered across the galaxy, each a masterpiece of the Forge, each a burden, each a lesson. He knew his sons would search for him, and he wanted them to grow, to suffer, to endure, as he had, because Vulkan was not interested in creating warriors. He was creating protectors, and that is a much harder thing to forge. I did not see him again for a long time, but when I did, it was not as a memory, it was not as a shade, it was on terror. The beast had come, an orc warlord of impossible size, impossible fury. It had done what few could. It had brought the Imperium to its knees, and then Vulkan returned. He faced the beast, alone, knowing what it would cost. He fought like a god, he died like a man, and still he returned. Because he is Vulkan, because he cannot die, because he will not allow himself to be absent when humanity needs him. He did not stay. He left again, back into the dark, back into myth. Some say he is gone, that he sleeps beneath Nocturne or beneath the throne itself. I know better. He is not sleeping. He is not hiding. He is waiting. Because Vulkan is not a warlord, not a king, not even a primarch in the way the others were. He is something else. He is fire given form, compassion set in stone, endurance made godlike. He is not what I planned. He is what I needed, and I did not see it. I gave my trust to Horus. I gave my doubt to Lorgar. I gave my silence to Vulkan. And of those three, only one still burns. Would he have stopped the heresy had I chosen him? Perhaps. Or perhaps he would have died trying to save the very traitors who turned on us. Because Vulkan does not believe in victory, he believes in salvation, and salvation is slower, harder, more painful, but it endures. He does not ask for monuments, he does not want statues, he wants only that his sons continue what he began, to protect, to endure, to remain. Even now, his legacy survives in every act of mercy, in every child shielded from war, in every flame that warms rather than burns. And when the time comes, when the Imperium falls silent, when the stars grow cold, he will return, not with banners, not with an army, but with a hammer and with fire. And we will know him not by his strength, not by his title, but by what he refuses to become. He is the son who suffered the most and changed the least. He is the one I failed least. He is the last light I did not extinguish. And if there is hope in this galaxy, if there is still a reason to believe humanity can be saved, it is because Vulkan did not fall. He endured everything, and he remained himself. He is not lost, he is not gone, he is waiting. And when he returns, it will not be to conquer, it will not be to judge, it will be to remind us what it means to be human, what it means to never break. I am the Emperor of mankind, and this was my unbroken son.